What's good, y'all? It's Wednesday, and if it's Wednesday, that means I'm here with Game Time 216, the Cleveland Sports Podcast. I am your host, Bobby G. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all know how we do. We talk everything Cleveland, Guardians, Cavs, Browns. We're going to talk about the Browns. We're definitely going to talk about them because everybody's talking about them for bad reasons. Let's just put it like that. But y'all know how we do. If you've been with me, you know what it is. Do me a favor before I get going. Follow the directions on your screen. Go ahead, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Turn your notifications on so you know the next time I am here. And I'm talking about Cleveland sports, which is every Wednesday at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. So like I said, we're gonna get into it. A lot to talk about. So the Guardians wrap up the first round bye. Like you guys saw that last night versus the Reds. Also securing the Ohio Cup for what it's worth. We're gonna give a review to the Browns and Giants, the whatever you want to call it, the destruction, the letdown, the disappointment, the bad, terrible game. But at the end of the day, we still had an opportunity to win that terrible game. And for the teams that have championship aspirations, like I think most of us thought we did, those are wins that you somehow have to pull out. And we're gonna speak on it. And of course, as always, weekly top 10 list. Not a power rankings yet. It's a top 10 list that morphs into a power rankings as the season goes on. But with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the first topic. Cleveland Guardians pulled out the win last night, 6-1 against the Cincinnati Reds, again securing the Ohio Cup. As I think that clinched the season series versus the Reds. It also wrapped up a first round bye, meaning the worst team the Guardians can finish in the American League is second, which will secure them a bye in the postseason, which starts next week. Still a game behind the Yankees, but we still do have a shot at that valuable number one seed, which we only a game behind the Yankees, who are involved in this series with the Baltimore Orioles currently. As a matter of fact, they took an L last night. So, definitely, these last 4 games, one more versus the Reds today, and then we got a 3-game series against the Astros to close it out. Definitely important. Definitely, I believe the Yankees have 5 games left. They have 2 more against the Orioles today and tomorrow, and then they finish off a 3-game series, I believe, with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's the Pirates. Let's say, man, we need the Orioles to handle their business tonight. That would be beautiful, because the Orioles, long shots they're not out. I think they would literally have to win out, and the Yankees would have to lose out, and then the Guardians would have to drop the rest of their games, for them to gain their number one seed. So long shot, they're still alive, so they're still playing for something. In theory, they could all so. Still playing for something. Now it's our chance. But like I said, they beat the Yankees last night 5-3. Play them again today and tomorrow. And yes, the Yankees do close out a 3-game series against the Pirates at Yankee Stadium. So, hey, if these teams handle their business, anything can happen, man. This is MLB. It's professional sports, first of all. So anything can happen. But to go on the game, on the Guardians, to be here right now, the other night they clinched the AL Central. Shout out to that. And for most fans, Cleveland sports, if you just say for the Guardians to be where they are right now, and locking up, popping bottles, and securing and clinching everything a month ago, it's such a relief to be where they are right now, because a month ago it did not look like they were going to make it here. Yes, I think most people thought from from the way they started the season that they would definitely at least make the postseason. But with the struggles that they've had, starting right before the All Star break, uh, I think a lot of Guardian fans thought that the choke job was definitely in line. That they could potentially lose the division to either the Royals or the Twins, and they had looking like they could fall out of the playoffs altogether. But they pulled it together. Better late than never. And just to kind of scan the season, um, they're playing good baseball right now. They're not playing as good as they were to start the season. You know, they came out of the gates on fire. Me, like many fans, did not see that coming. I thought they'd be a competitive team this year. And like you guys know, if you know me, again, I'm not the hugest baseball fan. I don't claim to be. The Guardians every year basically have to fight for my interest. If they start good, I pay attention. The better they are, the more I pay attention. And so this year they gave me a reason to pay attention, I was pleasantly surprised they're playing good baseball. Have been among the best teams in baseball, not just the American League. They've been among the best teams in baseball pretty much from the start of the season to about right before the All Star break. Now, right before the All Star break, saw a little slide. Uh, couple of injuries. There's some guys not playing like they were supposed to. The great debate was going on. What do we do around trade deadline? Should we be buyers or sellers? If we are buyers, what type of players do we need to make a potential championship push? All these conversations are going on, and in the midst of those conversations, we had 5 guys make the All Star team: Jose Ramirez, Josh Naylor, Emmanuel Clase, David Fry, and it was one more made the All Star again, or was it just the 4? Correct me if I'm wrong. Hit me up in the chat. Let me know if I'm wrong. But multiple All Stars. Oh, Stephen Kwan. Yeah, it was 5. Stephen Kwan. I'm sorry. All made the All Star team. Things were looking good, but in the midst of that, like, we were on this kind of skid, and I think a lot of us brushed it off as everybody goes through it. Long season. Overall, we're still one of the best teams in the league. And then after the All Star break, it kept going. Didn't get better. And then you saw performance drop offs. Stephen Kwan, we were talking about him flirting with a 400 batting average. Next thing you know, he's batting under 300. Naylor, we were talking about Naylor and Jose possibly being on pace for over 45 home runs each. That pace slowed down. David Fry completely fell off the map, and we were wondering, how did this dude get into the All Star game? Some guys who were playing okay. There was a gaping hole at shortstop that been exposed. The carousel of players there. They tried Shadim in there. Rocchio, who essentially took command of the position, but still isn't the greatest look. Angel Martinez started off hot, and then he kind of regressed. Cal Manzardo came up from AAA ball and did not look like the guy that we thought we traded for. Just Murphy's Law. Everything that could go wrong started to go wrong, and a lead that looked insurmountable, all of a sudden became surmountable. The teams that we created so much distance started to catch up to us. The Kansas City Royals started playing really good baseball after the All-Star break. The Minnesota Twins woke up. Hell, the Detroit Tigers got it together to the point where they eventually threatened for postseason berth, and if I'm not mistaken, they still could potentially make a wild card spot if certain things were to go their way. I don't think they're fully out of that last wild card spot. So, and we started to panic. I definitely started to panic again because I'm not the hugest baseball fan. So my first thought is just, what's going on? But as of late, and probably about the last month, certain things have picked up. The trades that we made at the deadline, that for me, they were not the moves I would have liked to see. for the names that were being discussed or thrown around or guys that were available, and for us to make a push, the trades that we made were definitely not the ones I wanted to see. To the point where a fan like me, I'm questioning ownership. I'm not questioning the front office because to me, the Guardians have one of the best front offices in sports. Dealing with the type of ownership that this team has as a professional sports team, and maintaining a competitive product on the field is absolutely amazing. Uh, they work a miracle every single season uh, for the Cleveland Guardians, and they've pretty much been the example to a lot of MLB teams on working without a huge payroll, which befuddles me. Billionaires own these teams, and you don't want to invest in your product. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Um, I would compare the Guardians' ownership to that of Donald Sterling. Not from a personal standpoint. I don't know them to be prejudiced or racist at all, but most people know Donald Sterling owned the Clippers. His only thing was remaining profitable in the black, so to speak. So the Clippers, for as long as Sterling owned them, I think only a handful of seasons, less than a handful of seasons to date, finish in the red because he wouldn't spend money when he would draft players and they would actually develop into superstar type players. He would not extend them. They would serve their rookie contract and then they would move on to finish their careers elsewhere. He was just a notoriously bad owner, and sorry, but that's how I feel about the Guardians ownership. Like if you just put a little bit of extra money, and here's what I'll give the example of. And maybe I'm spoiled. Coming up, the baseball in Cleveland that I remember is the most exciting. The Matic, the Albert Bell, those teams, who we kept bats in the lineup. Like we kept a 40 home run bat in the lineup. I don't remember a whole lot of seasons without one. Now we can't find. Well, I mean, shout out to Jose at 40 this year. And I think Naylor, if he got real hot real quick, could still find that number. But like it wasn't a problem. And for these teams as of late, even the team that went to the World Series in 2016, that's what's been missing. That's the advantage that these high payroll teams have over us, is that ability to come do damage in a game with one swing of the bat. Like we don't lack that. We rely on station to station baseball, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like being a boxer it's like being a power fighter as a boxer. Like the power puncher versus the technician. Yeah, the technician, he's gonna do everything. He has good defense, but if that puncher just hits him one time, like it's a wrap. And I feel that's what happens to the Guardian too often. Prime example: about a month ago, we played the New York Yankees in a critical series, 3 games. First game of that series, Juan Soto and Aaron Judge go back to back in the first inning of the first game, and that's like that could be demoralizing to a team, and that's what this team has lacked over the last few years, and it's because of ownership. Juan Soto, you had 2 chances to acquire Juan Soto. Now, whether he would want to play for a team for Guardians, I can't speak. I don't know what kind of personality the guy's. I don't know if he wants to be in a major market. I don't know if that's his preference, or if he just wants to play for a team that gives him the best chance to win the championship. And if that was his aspirations, the Guardians have a great argument. We keep a competitive team. So yes, you're going to have a chance to play competitive baseball. You're going to have a chance to play in baseball games that matter. So what would be the only other reason why a player wouldn't want to come here? It would have to be financial. Because if you have a team on the field who could be competitive, the only other half of the equation, 3 halves of the equation, Where can I be happy? Where can I win? Can I get paid? If you can get 2 to 3, uh, you sign a big enough paycheck. I think you can make the being happy here. Yeah, you can make that work. So, and I'll say it again, like we had 2 chances to acquire a Juan Soto type player, and a Juan Soto exactly. One, we could have traded him for him when he asked out of Washington, and when he asked out of Washington, we actually had a really good damn team that year. We went to the ALDS, and now imagine us, and we ran into the Yankees, and it was just a power thing. They had more power in the lineup than we did. That team actually had pitching, as opposed to this year's team, where pitching is starting pitching is a little bit shaky. That team actually had quality starting pitching. The only thing that team lacked was a bat in the lineup to be a difference maker. Imagine if we had gone out and got a Juan Soto. How good would that team have been in a matchup with the Yankees? Better. We took them. We took them the distance. We took them to 5 games. And you can make the argument and say we could have won the series in 4, or except for the rain, or we could have won the series except for the rain out. The game that got pushed back, which the Yankees were extremely happy because it gave their starting pitcher one more extra day of rest, and who wouldn't have been available for the day that the game was played. Or how about even further? Juan Soto gets traded from the Nationals to the Padres. They tried that experiment. He did not. He does not resign there. They basically rented him in an effort to try and win a championship. Wow, what a great concept. Dolans. Imagine that. Trading for a guy to try a difference maker to try and win a championship. They tried it with, I don't think, any intentions of re-signing him, but knowing that they more than likely were not going to re-sign the guy. So he becomes a free agent. That's your second opportunity to get the guy, and you pass. Now we'll bring it to this year. Take it from there. Imagine Juan Soto in the Guardians lineup this year. Imagine that. Like, now you keep Quan at lead. You move Jose up to the 2 spot. You have Soto at 3 and Naylor at 4. How much more scarier of a lineup is that? But we have an ownership team that just won't push to the limit. But that's the only thing holding this team back. And aside from our starting pitching this year, that's the only thing that frightens me about this team. I have confidence in almost everything else. And for what it's worth, with the new Stephen Voigt, the new manager this year, he's actually unlocked a little bit of power in these guys that I'm sure many of us didn't think existed or know that they had. Seeing Bo Naylor smack him out of the yard. John Kinsey Noel has been a pleasant surprise. Lane Thomas is now looking like a good trade versus, I mean, when he first got here, maybe it took him a while to get used to American League pitching. That is the thing in baseball. Coming from the National League to the American League, getting used to the pitching. Well, I think he's found his stride. He's batting, I think, .330 over the last month with like 8 home runs. Who else? Jimenez has found his stroke at the plate, getting on base more consistently. Ramirez looks to be waking up. It looks like as a whole, the team is waking up at the right time, and it couldn't have come any sooner. Now, if we could get those guys in the starting rotation to pick it up a little bit. I heard somebody mention that last night. Tanner Bybee looked like an ace. He looked good. I wouldn't say he looked like an ace, because I didn't have that confidence in him. When I watch a game and I hear Tanner Bybee's making the start, I don't feel as confident as I should if he's an ace. I think he's good. I think he can continue to learn and mature and grow into that type of pitcher. But right now, he's just a solid pitcher. That don't mean he won't go up there and give up 2-3 runs in the first inning. Yeah, I said the first inning, because that's what this starting rotation of pitchers have been doing. To the point where Gavin Williams, I don't even want him on the playoff roster. Sorry, that dude is guaranteed 3 runs in the first inning. But it looks like they're coming together at the right time. The bullpen strong. Obviously, Class A. I don't have to say anything about him. Uh, it's just can we get can our starting rotation get us to the sixth inning? And that's what it's going to be all about. Can our bats stay awake? Can our bats stay awake? And can our starting rotation get us to the sixth inning? Because I have every confidence that our bullpen can get us to Class A. And if we get to Class A, it's game over. So shout out to the Guardians for waking up at the right time. Shout out to Kyle Manzardo, man. This guy, again, mention him. Like, he came out the first time and struggled. They sent him back down. It does not look like he took it badly. It doesn't look like he let it mess with him mentally. A lot of guys, when that happens, you never know. Let's call it what it is. It's demotion. He got promoted and he got demoted on his job. And that thing can mess with you mentally. It can have you questioning yourself. But for him, it looks like it gave him an opportunity to retool. He came up to the majors, saw what it was like, saw what he did wrong, took it back to the minors, worked on those things. Now they bring him back up, and it looks like he put in the work. Looks like he took the right notes when he was here, and it didn't work out. Took it back down to the minors, worked on those things, and came back and fixed his issues, or at least adjusted his game plan. And that's what it's all about. My only question is, I would have liked to seen them call up the young man, Bazana, to let him get a taste of what it's like, so that he can do the same thing Manzardo did. Come up, hey, take those reps, take your notes, hey, take the off season to work on it, because regardless of how this season finishes out, I am super high on the potential for the Guardians for the 25 season. I think that's as I'll say, hey, fair weather fan. As a fair weather fan of the Guardians, I'm definitely more excited about the potential of the 25 team, because I see Bazana coming up and taking over second base. I see Jimenez moving over to short to shore up the hole that was there. I believe Noel will put in the work in the offseason to shore up the right field position. Now all we have to do is fill the gap in center field. Lane Thomas, can he do it? I don't know. But as it stands right now, really the only hole on the team I currently see is center field. If we shore up center field, and it would be great to get a bat out there. Obviously, you want somebody who can field the position, but if we can get a solid bat center fielder in the lineup, and the Naylor situation, are we going to re-sign him or are we going to let him walk? I think that's another big decision, but that's neither here nor there because of the way Manzardo's playing. I'd love to have them both back. DH one and they can alternate for each other, give each other breaks, keep their bodies fresh. But those are only two big questions. Can we fill the void at center field? And pitching. But we have to get real pitchers. We have to. If this hasn't shown you anything, we need real quality starting pitching to get us through the regular season, so we don't go through another 2-month slump next season. So those are three big things. Shore up center field. It'd be great to get another bat. Let's get another arm, starting quality arm. And what do we do, Naylor? I'd love to re-sign him. If he can stay, love to re-sign him. So take care of those things, Guardians. Definitely shout out for the rest of the season. I'm hoping we can get it done. I'm hoping the Yankees can lose a couple of games and we win out. It would be fantastic to have the entire playoff run through Cleveland. But if it can't, hey, somebody beat the Yankees, because I do not want to see them with home Game 7 at Yankee Stadium. Moving on to what y'all really want to talk about, and I know what it is, man. These dudes, Browns. in what was a very, very, very winnable game. Just let down. Poor performances all over the field, but it's. I don't want to say it's not as bad as everybody thinks. It's living in the moment too much. That's what I call it. I'm a Browns fan, and y'all know me. I call myself the realest Browns fan, and I say that for a reason. It's because I never overreact to things. I think everything through, and I mean I have a realistic outlook of the team. Like everything I say about the team going forward, and my thoughts on what they could do. Obviously, guys, if you follow me, I picked us to win the division this year. I still stand by that. We still can win the division because as bad as they looked on Sunday, as atrocious as they looked on Sunday, as god awful as everything was on Sunday, we're still in second place in the division. If you haven't looked, yeah, the Steelers are 3-0, but I think most of you know they'll come back down to earth. The Ravens are 1-2. Their only win is against the NFC foe. The Ravens are actually 0-2 in conference. Which is look at the standings. Yeah, they have the Ravens above us. No, we're actually conference wise, we're actually ahead of the Ravens because our victory is a conference win. Our losses are non-conference losses. We lost to the Giants. We lost to the Cowboys. Those two NFC games don't really, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, all wins and losses matter, but all wins and losses are not the same. So conference-wise, we're 1-0. The Ravens are 0-2. The Bengals are 0-3, period, regardless of conference. So like, yeah, I picked them to win the division. I still stand by it. Why? Because it's still viable. Like, we, in no means, are out of it. And let's look at the good and the bad, the ugly from Sunday. The good, not a lot of good. Honestly, there is good. There is one good thing to come out of Sunday. And the good thing to come out of Sunday is the fact of the matter that in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left in the game, this game is still winnable. Think about it. As awful as you can say we played, for every bad thing that happened that you can name, every missed throw, every missed block, as terrible as the offensive line was, couldn't establish the running game, missing reads on receivers, guys dropping passes. For all of that, this was a winnable game. And it took the New York Giants to give an A effort to beat us on our bad day. So that's a good thing to come out of. Imagine if we would have played like we played against the Jaguars. We'd probably win this game by 10 points. And that's been 10 points. With the Giants played how they played, if we even looked how we looked against the Jaguars, we still might have won this game by like 10 points. And even playing as bad as we did, if certain things don't happen, we still might have won this game by 10 points. Key example being the interception callback. It's a huge one everybody's talking about. Yes, it was a ticky-tack call, but guess what? You can't run into the quarterback. Once he's throwing the ball, you can't run into him. And that's what Greg Dukes is like, you got to know better than that. Has a turnover call back. At the time, we were up 7-0. With a lot of momentum, that could have turned into 14-0. We could have put it away early. That could have demoralized him. Game changer. So even throughout all of that, the fact that with 2 minutes left in the game, we're still there with an opportunity to win the game, as bad as everything was, yes, that's something to hang our hat on. Okay, now let's get to the bad and ugly of it. Like I said, I am not going to mention Deshaun Watson. Why? Because it's too freaking easy. Now, this is the NFL, folks. At the end of the day, no matter what game you're watching, what team you're following, if your team loses, you can blame the quarterback. Simple and plain. If your team loses, you can blame the quarterback and you can be right. It's too easy. It's the most important position in sports. Yes. So we're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to go with everything else. How can I expect my quarterback to be my quarterback when my offensive line plays like they did? Juwan Jones has to be hurt or something. I know he's been dealing with a knee injury. He literally got ran around all game. I don't think a single edge rusher engaged him for the game. I think the game plan was just, if you're matched up on Jones, just run around him. He can't move. And it worked all game. Jed Wills. You know I'm not the hugest fan of Jed Wills. And he looked lost all game. And then he went down with another injury. And here's my thoughts on the injuries. Like, we have to do something. How is it that our stadium is located down the street from one of the greatest medical facilities in the world, and our injury prevention is trash? Now, that's one thing. Our injury prevention and recovery should be world class. We're right down the street from one of the greatest medical facilities on earth, Cleveland Clinic. If you don't know what I'm talking about, home of some of the best medical practitioners in their field. And Cleveland teams deal with this. Like, the Cavs and Browns should be the healthiest teams in sports. You should be, in theory. How does that? I don't know. But Haslam's, Jimmy D. Haslam, stop worrying about the stadium. Because what's the point of being on a new stadium if you have a roster full of injured players who can't play? Let's get on the phone with the Cleveland Clinic and let's talk to some of these doctors that talk injury prevention and recovery. Because to me, it makes no sense. That makes no sense. But, I'm not going to chew on Jed Wills for his injury. You watch, he got rolled up on. You can't help that. His back is turned. Guy rolls up on his leg from behind. Like, that's not a... You can't control that. Just like Nick Chubb, I'm not going to call Nick Chubb. The guy got hit below the knee. He got stood up and hit below the knee. And yes, I'm going to shit on Minka Fitzpatrick for targeting below the knee. Like, this happens too many times. Our players do it too many times. If I see another cornerback, instead of engaging a guy, try and shoulder check somebody instead of wrap tackling, I think I'm going to have an aneurysm. I might blow a gasket. Like, we got to work on our techniques, and these are the things that should have been worked on summer. Denzel, like, you've had 18 concussions in your career. Stop trying to shoulder check people and tackle them. Stop going for the knee. Go for the waist and tackle somebody. But what was the biggest bad? We couldn't establish the run. Why didn't we run the ball? Well, we couldn't establish the run. That's why we didn't run the ball. Our line couldn't block anybody. Obviously, the Giants' game plan was to play the run on the way to the pass. And the Giants are bad at a lot of things. The one thing they're not bad at is controlling the trenches. They have, minus Myles Garrett, I would trade their defensive line for our defensive line in a heartbeat. Dexter Lawrence is one of the best in the business. Brian Burns is one of the best in the business. As a matter of fact, the Browns tried to pursue Brian Burns in the offseason. We just didn't want to trade. We didn't want to trade another future first round pick, which is what it would have took. And obviously, last season we didn't have a first round pick to get, so we would have had to trade multiple first round picks to the Panthers to try and get them. We didn't want to do it. I understand, but we did try to pursue Brian Burns. Thibodeau, top 10 pick from a few years ago. Like, they have players on this defensive line. So, yeah, I would trade their D-line for our D-line. Minus, hell, I might even include Myles Garrett. If I could trade in whole our D-line for their D-line, yeah, I would give them Myles Garrett Myles Garrett and the Garretteers for their team of defensive linemen, because that's the difference between their defensive line and ours. Yes, D Law is one of the best in the business of what he does, but he has help, and that's what makes their defensive line superior. Our D line, we have hope, not help. And I hope Zadarius Smith can get it together. I hope Alex Wright pans out. I hope Dalvin Tomlinson can hold the middle of the line so JOK can do his thing. Which, if you watch the game, none of these things happen. This previous JOK has not been able to play the same way he played last season. Why? Because our defensive tackles are off to a very slow start. If they can't do their job, he can't do his job. And I've said this for years. Like, people are wondering why JOK all of a sudden came alive last season. Well, it's because the season prior, we had one of the worst defensive lines in the league. If a linebacker does not have a decent defensive line in front of him, he can't perform. I don't care who you are. Need the proof? Go look at the Ravens when they had Tony Siragusa and they won that 2000 Super Bowl. Look at the Ravens when Snow Goose retired. Ray Lewis's number went down. He started getting injuries. Why? Because the linemen were able to make it to the second level and put their hands on him and get physical with him. Then what happens? The Ravens draft, I can't remember his name, but they draft a top defensive tackle. Oh, guess what? Ray Lewis is one of the best linebackers in the league again, and the Ravens win another Super Bowl. If you do not have defensive line in front of you as a linebacker, you cannot perform. And I don't care. Again, I don't care who you are. Look at the top linebackers in the league. Fred Warner, best linebacker in the league. Oh yeah, the San Francisco 49ers have a pretty good defensive line, right? Even go by Bobby Wagner in Seattle. Seattle, pretty good defensive line, right? Yeah. Doesn't matter who you are. If that D lineman in front of you is not eating those blocks for you to shoot the gaps, to get pressure on the quarterback or stop the run as a linebacker, it makes your job that much more difficult. Not to mention the fact that JOK is already light and ass as a linebacker. He's only 228 pounds. He's the new hybrid linebacker. So once Dalvin, Hurst, these guys start to pick it up, you'll see better performance out of JOK. Let's go to Emerson. I really want to talk about Emerson because, yes, Emerson got cooked up. He got cooked up on Sunday, no doubt about it. But we're not going to say it like I've heard say, see, Emerson's not elite. He's not this, he's not that. I'm not of the belief that MJ Emerson was elite. Yeah, I believe MJ Emerson can be elite. MJ Emerson can be an elite tackle. Absolutely. But what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to discount the guy's ability because he went up again. The thing everybody's coming out is, Neighbors, that's the difference between having a regular receiver and an elite receiver. I see a lot of people calling Malik Neighbors elite. Okay, you can't have it both ways, and that should be the theme of this show. Can't have it both ways. You can't say that a guy is not elite because he got beat by another elite guy. And that's what I mean when I say I'm not a prisoner of the moment. And I'm also not saying Emerson is elite. I think he's good with the potential to be elite. But you can't have it both ways, people. You can't call Malik Neighbors elite and then say Emerson is not elite because he can't guard him. Because if that's the case, you can't say Deion Sanders is the greatest cover corner of all time and he got diced up by, like he didn't get diced up by Jerry Rice. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't get diced up by Michael Irvin when he wasn't a Cowboy. Like, it don't work like that. The best of the best get eaten up by the best of the best. Like, so how many elite corners do you think Justin Jefferson made look like that in his rookie year? How many elite corners did we watch Odell Beckham make look like that in his rookie year? Same with Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase came that damn near 1,500 yards this rookie. How many elite corners did he make look like that in his rookie year? So you can question yourself. Either Malik Neighbors is elite and just had a good game, or Malik Neighbors isn't that good and MJ Emerson just had a bad game. Because look what happened in the rest of the game. Neighbors did what he did, but as soon as we put Denzel Ward on him, he got shut down. So is Malik Neighbors now trash because he got shut down by an elite corner? Can't have it both ways, people. Like, two things can be true. Yes, MJ Emerson is good. Yes, Malik Neighbors as a receiver, hey, it's just not meant for him. Like, it's just a bad matchup. Just like Denzel Ward was a bad matchup for Malik Neighbors. And if y'all want to question, I'll tell you what. I'll take a guy, because my comp for MJ Emerson when I talk to people is always the same. He reminds me of two guys, and you can go look at their numbers. Go look at Richard Sherman's numbers from his second year in the league versus Emerson's from last season. Go look it up. And since this is a Cleveland show, wouldn't be right. Go ahead and look up MJ Emerson's numbers from last year versus Joe Hayden's numbers from his second year in the league. And I bring up those two guys in the same because I hear a lot of talking heads out there want to regurgitate Emerson. Oh, he's slow twitch. Oh, he wasn't this. He doesn't have the speed. You don't need speed to be a corner. You need technique. When you're a corner who doesn't have elite athleticism, you rely on technique. It takes more than 2 seasons to learn technique. Like, you don't just come in and get it like that. Like, it takes these guys years to master their craft. Give the young man a chance to master his craft. Because Richard Sherman was not the best corner in the league in his second year in the league. Joe Hayden was not the best corner in the league his second year in the league. As a matter of fact, Joe Hayden was rarely credited as being the best corner in the league, even though when Richard Sherman was talking that noise and people had a debate, oh, who's really the best corner? Is it Richard Sherman? Is it Patrick Peterson? Is it this person, that person? They actually did a study. The knock on Richard Sherman was he spent way too much time in zone coverage. He didn't spend enough time guarding man-to-man, plus he didn't travel. He only covered the left side of the defense, left side of the field. Versus a Patrick Peterson who would travel. And you know who they determined was actually the best corner in the league at that time? It's not just the Falcon fan. He's not good. But guess what? He shut down Drake London last year. Or his rookie year, matter of fact. He's good. MJ is a good corner. He had a bad game. But in that season when they were talking all that noise, they actually determined that the best corner was actually Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden at that time had spent the most time in man coverage against the other team's best receiver. Who would have thought? But can't have it both ways, people. It's either one thing or the other. But yeah, Sunday was just atrocious, and they can't keep that up. A lot of things we got to show up. A lot of people blaming offensive line coach now. Bill Callahan's gone. We can't do it. But guess what? We got a lot of veterans on that line. I'm not going to use the coach as an excuse. That's the one thing that I heard from a couple talking heads that actually made sense. Yeah, Joe Bitonio's a veteran. Wyatel's a veteran. Them playing bad has nothing to do with Bill Callahan being gone. They're veterans. If you want to sell me that for DeJuan Jones, sure, he's a young guy, second year in the league. I'll buy it. But that's about it. You're a veteran in this league. You know how to perform. You know you have a standard to hold yourself to. You've been part of a group that was called the best. Oh, the Cleveland Browns have the best offensive line in the league. You were part of the unit when that was going around. You should hold yourself to a higher standard. So I can't give you a pass. And again, we got hit by the injury bug. So it's going to be even tougher. If you thought Sunday was tough, it's going to be tougher moving forward. We started this game with the offensive line looking one way. We ended it with our left guard playing left tackle, our center playing left guard, our backup center starting, and our rookie right guard into the lineup with our former backup left guard playing right guard. That's how we ended the game, and that's probably how the line is going to look going forward. So if you thought Sunday was rough, wait till you see what's coming. Moving on. Linebacker play. We're not getting anything from linebackers. We are getting gashed in the run game. This defense is looking it's reminding me a lot like 2020, 2023, 22 and 23. The way we're getting gashed in the run game. So we definitely have to shore that up. Our D tackles, you got to play better. We got to play better. We know we can do it. We did it last year. Excuse. Like, what's the excuse? And somebody's got to play better. Shout out to Ron, the Ultimate Troll. Like, we're getting gashed in the run game. Got to step up. Somebody's got to step up. Come on, Dalvin Thompson. You put the paint on your hand every week. The Infinity Gauntlet. Pull one of them stones out and do your damn job. Mo Hurst, I need to see something. Like, everybody's hyped up our young player, Mike Hall. He's on the exempt list. We should get him back. I need him to come back and light a fire. We need the young boy to start pushing people. Show him something. So I hope he is with all the veterans we're talking about in the offseason. Or saying that they saw in him. I hope he is. Because we need somebody to light a fire under these guys. Like Myles Garrett can't do it all. Especially this year. He's got his issues going on. Foot issues, knee issues. From carrying the whole defense. So, y'all got to step up. In the secondary, communication as always. We saw it against the Cowboys, against the Jaguars. It was decent. We gave a one deep play. Against the Giants, other than MJ just kind of getting beat, the rest of the secondary, let's say they played okay. They didn't play great. They played okay. But communication is always an issue with our secondary. It has been for probably the last couple of seasons. We got to get that together. Somebody has to take command in the secondary and get these guys in line. I would love it to be one of our safeties. You would love that, but at this point, I don't care who it is. Somebody get a damn voice and get everybody together. Because we got another one. If you thought the next couple of weeks was tough, we got a fully alert team. a fully alert team waiting for us this weekend. The Raiders. They just took an L at home to the Carolina Panthers. A lot of people say the worst team in the league. I wouldn't disagree with that. But what I will say, you got a fully awake team. If they weren't awake, they're awake now. When you get beat by the worst team in the league, they kind of took a loss like we took a loss. The only difference is they got blew out. The Carolina Panthers blew the Raiders out. What's the score again? Check the score of that game again. Yeah, 36-22. Blew them out. That game was like over at halftime. It's 21-7 at halftime. The Raiders basically scored 15 points in garbage time. So that's the difference between us and them. Their poor performance led to a blowout. Ours was still a winnable game. So they're fully awake and they're sitting back and waiting. And they're watching film and they're watching that Giants game. And I'll tell you, one player, number 98, Max Crosby, is licking his lips. Because if Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau can do that to our O-line, Max Crosby is one of those guys. He's up there with Miles. He's up there with TJ. He's up there with Micah as being one of the best defensive players in the league, defensive linemen in the league. And if you don't think he's licking his lips, thinking how he can put his hands on number 4, you're crazy. And we've seen Hines play. We've seen how he plays. And for those who don't know, watch the quarterback series. Remember, after every play, he'll just bump the quarterback for no reason. Just the mental game, the meta game. Let you know I'm here. After every play. Go watch the Dolphins Hard Knocks. Those who have subscription to Max. Yeah, go watch the Dolphins Hard Knocks and how they're getting ready for the Raiders game. Max Crosby, he's one of those guys. He just likes to annoy the hell out of you when he can. So he'll tap you. He constantly touches you. Something like Ray Stevens this week in fantasy. I don't blame you, honestly. Our offenses look like trash. So that could be a very good play. I would probably play him too. I'm definitely don't blame you. The way our offense is played, and like I said, the Raiders defense, that could be a very valuable play. It could also backfire on you because I guarantee you a lot of people thought that same play against Carolina. So, like I said, just as woke as they are, and our offense is hearing that noise. So, hey, at your own risk, make that play. But defensively, hey, this is the issue. Last year our problem was our defense didn't travel. This year they went down to Jacksonville and handled their business. They looked better in Jacksonville than they did in any road game last season. Even the wins, not just the losses. Even the wins we had on the road, they looked much better than they did last season. Let's hope we can see that again. Another knock, Kevin Stefanski. I don't think he's won a game on the West Coast. So that's one knock on the Browns. We haven't won on a West Coast game since he's been the head coach. So, for my bettors out there and my gamblers, there's a nugget for you. But it's a winnable game. Waiting to see, like, if we show up. If we show up, we can win. If Andy Dalton can get up off his couch and throw for 300 yards, if we can somehow find a way to get hands on Max Crosby and give Deshaun Watson more than a second and a half to throw the ball, if our receivers can get open, if Jim Schwartz allows Denzel Ward to play Devontae Adams one-on-one for the whole game, because I think if he's learned anything as a coordinator from last week, you have to let Denzel travel. You have to let him travel. You can't play the side-to-side corner thing against teams that have elite receivers. And Devontae is one of them. You got to let Denzel play him. Head up all game. I would love to see that matchup. It's Denzel. I don't think Denzel Ward gets enough credit as a corner. He's one of the top 5 corners in the league. But you got to let him travel. Defensive tackles. For our defensive tackles, we know Gardner Minshew. We played him last year in Indianapolis. Like, we have the film. We have the personnel. Let's just get the job done, man. Step up and do your damn jobs. Let me see. Yeah, that O-line. Some kill you. Panthers showed up. Andy getting players 120% for Watson. I don't know about that. But they will, because it's not about him. So that's the difference between a team like Carolina. Yeah, they showed up for him because that's all they got. The Panthers are going nowhere. They're not going to the playoffs. They're going to finish with the worst team, the worst record in the league, and they'll probably draft a quarterback next year and move away from Bryce Young. That's their plan. So they can show up for Andy Dalton. But we got big, like our team as a whole had aspirations that were bigger than Deshaun Watson. So it's like they're not trying to show up for him. They're showing up for the team. Because we can't go down 0-3. That's a difficult hole to climb out of. We need to be 2-2. As 2-2, and then we got 2 more winnable games after this. We got the Commanders, who, yes, they look improved. They definitely look improved, but that's a winnable game. I think they're getting a little too much hype. And then we got the Eagles. That's a tough one. If we can come out of this 3-game Raiders, Commanders, Eagles, if we can come out of this after the dust clears at 3-3, and now you're talking about facing the Bengals, that's a position I don't mind being in. But Yeah, it starts this weekend. They said if the O line can hold up, uh, try to establish a running game, quick passes, get the ball out of Deshaun's hands quick. Running backs take the damn handoff, stop fumbling handoffs. Receivers stop dropping easy passes. Yes, Cedric Tillman, I'm looking at you. Ball hits you right between the 1 and the 9 and you drop it. Like, yeah, a lot of little things that need to get cleaned up in a week. Can they all get cleaned up in a week? No. But if we can clean up half of it, the stuff they can control, penalties, stupid penalties, yeah, we can do it. So I look to see an entertaining game. If you want to see my winners and losers, hey, check me out tomorrow night after Thursday Night Football on the Audible Sports Podcast channel. I'll be doing that, my boy Wildcard Mar. But what I will give you is a preview of the top 10, the weekly top 10 coming at you. And it looks as such. I got the Chiefs at number 1, Bills at number 2. The Bills, they're just playing really good football. It looked much better than I thought they would. The Vikings, surprising season. I don't think anybody saw that coming from what they're doing. And they showed the Texans. There's certain buildings in the NFL that I think that are just doomsday for teams. One of them being Lambeau Field. 2 being up there in Seattle, difficult place to play. Pittsburgh, difficult place to play. That dome in Minnesota is becoming one of them. That playing in that dome in Minnesota, when them people get up there and they get the skull chant, that chant is loud. I hear it on my TVs, man. That building is loud. From anybody I've ever talked to that's been in there, they say that place gets loud when they do that. So it's definitely becoming one of those places that you difficult to go in there and get a win. I got Seattle at number 4. Y'all know me. I've been high on Seattle this year. They're one of my surprise teams to make a run. I got the Steelers at 5, another one of my surprise teams I told people about before the season started. I got the Saints at 6, the Texans at 7, the Buccaneers at 8, the Detroit Lions at 9, and the Philadelphia Eagles at 10. So, that's my top 10 as I see it. Like I said, it's not a power ranking. It's a top 10 that over time morphs into a power ranking. I just follow certain rules that I abide by, and I stick with them. If you hit me, Atlanta shouldn't be on. No, they shouldn't. Cut it out, Ron. Come on. If Atlanta's up there, the Browns are up there. Stop it. They should be there. Those first 3 games were tough. We could easily be 2-1, but you're not. You're not, and they're definitely not winning 12 or 13 games. If you want to bet on that, that's a bet I'll take. But yeah, the Falcons said that they're 1-2. If you notice, every team up there is at least 2-1 or undefeated. So no, they shouldn't be up there. I know you're a dedicated fan to your team, but be realistic with it. Yeah, the Eagles moving into that. There's a game this week. Who is it? What's the big game this week? I think it might be. It's a divisional game. It escapes me right now. I'm so mad. Lions. Who plays this? Oh yeah, Seattle and Detroit. Other than the Browns game, that's probably my game of the week. Seahawks and Lions, that should be a good one, and it's in Detroit Monday night, so that should be a good one. That'll probably be my game of the week. I'll definitely be tuned into that. But yeah, man, that's how I see it. Hit me in the chat. Let me know what I did right, what I did wrong. Minus you, Ron. Falcons will never be on my top 10. Just for that. Even I don't care. They finished the season 13-4. I will refuse to put them on my top 10 just because you want to see it. But yeah, so good luck to all my team. Good luck to the Guardians this evening. The Browns, I hope we can get it done this weekend. Like I said, if you want to hear more, tomorrow night I'll be talking all NFL on the Thursday night post-game show. That'll be on the Audible Sports Network channel. So if you haven't already, go over there, subscribe, turn notifications on, as well as here. hit that like button, subscribe, turn your notifications on so next time I'm here talking about Cleveland sports, which is every Wednesday, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. But for now, man, I'm Bobby G. That's my time. And until next week, peace.
Keep your feet pumping. You gotta run through it. Keep putting that down.